Took the voltage regulator off this old alternator. It's held on by 4 or 5 torque screws. Easy enough to get off. There it is. You can see this thing's old and crusty. Of course, it's 19 years old. It should be. There's what the innards of a 19-year-old alternator look like. Let's see if I can turn it. There you go. Yeah, it's all rusted, crusted, worn out, just no good anymore. Lasted 19 years though. I don't know what I'll do with it. Probably just throw it in the garbage. Might take it down to pull apart and throw it in their, used parts bin that they have for recycling. Don't know. It's not that big a deal. Thought you might want to see what this thing looked like after 19 years in the car. Worked well. It was a motorcraft part. Right there's the part number. If you have any desire to buy a new one. I decided I'd take it apart. So, 8mm socket on an impact driver. Ooh. Out it comes. Sitting on a pulley, so naturally it, wanted to turn. So this should just come off. Let me get it off. It's going to take 2 hands. It was kind of harder than I thought it'd be. There's a pulley. Here's a 15/16 inch nut that holds the pulley on. I tried using my quarter-inch impact driver to take that off. It didn't work. Didn't have enough strength. So I used my 1/2-inch cobalt impact driver, and it took it right off. Instantly. So if you've got some difficult fastener you need to remove from time to time, I advise you get yourself one of those, either this one or something similar, because they really make things work when they need to. This guy in the airplane's bugging me. He seems to be on some sort of test flight right over my house every 20 seconds. Here's the alternator after I got the back cover off. Take all the screws out. And you have to beat it off with a hammer and a chisel. You just kind of work it around the edge here. Keep working it because you're pulling it off this spindle bearing, whatever you want to call it. That's what it's coming. That's what it's setting on. Right there is where it's being held on. So you just have to tap, 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 and it'll come off eventually. I'm not sure I want to go any further with this disassembly. There's a tiny little torque screw there, another one up here, another one right over there, and a final one right there. And they're all crusted, and I don't think I can get them off. So, might be back. Oh no, somebody's coming. Okay, I got this thing taken apart. Basically, I took my sledgehammer and I held it in this vise, and I beat on the place where the pulley goes with the hammer and pounded it through the case, because basically the case just holds it in place, and this spins inside. That's the rotor, that's the stator right there, the solid part that doesn't move. These, I guess, are connectors that go to the rectifier. Rectifier's right here, attached to this middle part of the case. And that's where the AC current gets turned into DC, sent to the battery, to the rest of the car for the accessories. So that's the middle part with the rectifier on it. That's the stator, And this is the rotor, which has a bipole north-south, north-south, like a claw design. I think it's what it's called, a claw. Generates a magnetic field as it turns from turning, and that generates electricity. Let's see if I can find something metal, see if this thing's magnetic. Could be. Let's see here. It's magnetic, or metal anyway. Nope. No magnets. So maybe the spinning. I'm not sure how it works. Just going to say that. But that's how the electric field is generated as this turns. AC voltage is created. Goes to this rectifier. Turns into DC. Goes to battery and to the rest of the car. So that's what an alternator looks like when it's disassembled, at least, or torn apart. I don't know if I'd go so far as to say it was disassembled. It was ripped apart. Now I'll just toss this in the trash, I guess. Well, anyway, stuff you do when you're retired. This is one of the things I do, anyway.